The NBA is absolutely terrified of the New York Knicks this season, and it's only growing as games go on. And outside of all the reasons why this is the case, OG Anunoby looking like an all NBA defender, like a defensive player of the year candidate, Mikal Bridges really figuring it all out. Obviously, the elite offensive duo, historically good offensive duo of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, mixed with Josh Hart and a solid enough bench for this Knicks team. Obviously, teams are afraid of them as they are as true contenders, but there is a real truth to why the New York Knicks are terrifying the NBA, including the Boston Celtics. And that is because of none more than the Villanova Knicks, headlined by Jalen Brunson, but at sometimes the most important player on the court in Josh Hart. The New York Knicks have been flowing this season, and the Nova Knicks took a minute to get going without Dante DiVincenzo, replacing him with Mikal Bridges. But since that replacement's happened, what we've seen is this Knicks team, at their best, hit a new height. Their defense is elite. The offense is one of the best in the league. And now we're seeing a New York Knicks team that when they decide to put the foot on the proverbial throat of their opponents, they stomp them out with ease. And we're seeing that on both ends of the court right now. That was highlighted in the game the New York Knicks just played against the Orlando Magic, where the Knicks were really teetering, having it being down a good chunk of the game and then being tied at the half before the second half began, when Josh Hart showed why he is the best role player in the NBA, why Mikal Bridges showed that he's a defensive stalwart, while Jalen Brunson showed why he's one of the true superstars of basketball, and why this New York Knicks team, not even fully healthy yet, missing Mitchell Robinson, their anchor of defense, is one of the most dangerous starting fives in basketball. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris and Dariel here. Dariel, what a game by the New York Knicks. What a run by the New York Knicks they're having. It's no longer this Knicks team is at 500. I did make a prediction, just to toot my own horn a little bit. I did predict the Knicks would be around 500 their first 20 games into the season. They were close, but they figured it out a bit before then. This New York Knicks team is on a magical run right now, where even teams that are very, very good in the NBA, like the Orlando Magic, despite all their injuries, we are seeing a new level for the New York Knicks that they are now just beating up on teams that are considered good in the NBA.
I was gonna say that they played well, but to be honest, the first half it was bad. It was just and yeah, the Knicks were missing field goals, but at the same time, I have to bring it back to the overall theme of this year's NBA season as the ratings being down. And one of the reasons is because the refs are calling so many fouls, the physicality is way down. And that is what I'm trying to say about the first half with the Knicks and Orlando Magic. It was just a sloppy game, a lot of stoppage. And that's just not really good for a viewing experience. It doesn't make it pleasurable. So the first half, it was kind of rough to watch, but Josh Hart, I saw in the post game interview, he was saying that like that's what makes his team special. They have a lot of different ways that they can win. If they're not hitting shots, if their two best players aren't on, if they aren't on, ready to go, if they're not hitting their shots, then they can switch to a defensive mindset with Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart. They can get stops, and then Josh Hart is going to always hit big and timely shots. Mikal Bridges is easing his way into the offense. So Josh Hart, based off what he said in the post-game interview, I absolutely agree with him. But tonight's win, 100%, is like you said earlier in the video, is because of the Nova Knicks. You got Josh Hart, Brunson, and Mikal Bridges coming up big. Mikal Bridges reminding everybody why he is one of the better perimeter defenders in the league, stripping one of the Orlando Magic's perimeter players. His last name is Queen, I believe. I don't know his full name. I don't know if he's a rookie or if he's like from the G League, but Mikal Bridges just absolutely stripped him. You got Josh Hart finishing and one plays. Brunson led the Nova Knicks with 26 points, 11 of 21 from the field. He played 36 minutes. Mikal Bridges had 17, 6 of 12 from the field. He took one three-pointer and he missed that. But Josh Hart, 23 points, 13 rebounds, 7 of 11, and 1 of 3 from three-point line. Josh Hart, whenever you're gonna feel Josh Hart's impact, it's always gonna be when he has like a really strong double double, or maybe sometimes he even has triple doubles. But whenever he has like a really strong double double, a 20 and 12, a 25 and 15, somewhere around those lines, you feel the impact that Josh Hart has in the game. And tonight is no different. He played 38 minutes. Of course, that's going to be a topic that we're all Knicks fans. We're going to be concentrating on the minutes that the starting five is playing. But like we keep saying, Coach Tibbs, what do we expect from him? Who is he going to trust? If you guys caught my live that I did prior to the game, I was going in on Precious Achua, and this game is a perfect example of why Precious Achua cannot be trusted, because he gets in the game, he turns the ball over, he travels, he steps out of bounds, he throws the ball away. Like, I don't understand the Precious Achua agenda that everybody has, including you, Chris. Every time he gets in the game,
Good
there's
player.
Oh my God. Every time he gets in the game, he has one good thing and then he has five boneheaded plays. If you're a professional basketball player, play with some confidence. Grab the ball, be aggressive. Don't play like you're about to make a mistake, which I thought we were way past with Precious Achua, but apparently not. But anyway, Carl Anthony Towns, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 16 points and 8 rebounds, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point line. Again, Carl Anthony Towns, the foul trouble. The foul trouble with Carl Anthony Towns has been something that's been plaguing his entire career, and this season is no different. We don't have any other bigs backing him up. In my opinion, we don't have any respectable bigs backing him up. So it puts him in a really weird situation, and trade deadline's coming up. We still have like a month or two until the trade deadline comes up. But I fully expect to get a respectable name to help Cat. Cat had a rough game tonight, but we were able to weather the storm. The Villanova Knicks came to play, and we got the W in Orlando, and now we're off to Washington, D.C.
I honestly think Towns played fine. I mean, it wasn't a loud game per se, but
Right.
like it comes back to that situation of with the Knicks. It's like your turn, my turn, where you have four guys who on any given night have all proven they could have a 30-point game. Towns being guarded by one of the best defensive centers very quietly in the NBA, Goga Bitadze.
Go,
And
go! Right.
I mean, look, what we're seeing foul trouble wise, it's been like this, and that's not going to change. I mean, he had 4 personal fouls tonight. He averages 3.8 on the season, so right on par as per
Yep.
usual. Obviously, the minutes are not helping. Mitchell Robinson getting back will have an impact on this, but it is something to certainly look at. With the Knicks bench, I think we're starting to see the beginning of a 9-man rotation. Now, when Mitch comes back, it becomes very interesting because the Knicks will probably trade Precious if they have enough time before Mitch comes back, or they'll trade Precious anyway. But Precious is going to get moved by the Knicks within the next. There's 4
24
days
hours.
left in December, 6 days in February, 31 in January. So in the next 41 days, Precious Achiuwa is not going to be on the New York Knicks most likely. So there's 41 days to the trade deadline for anyone who's trying to count that. I just don't see Achua being on the team. I think they'll trade for more insurance for Mitchell Robinson when it becomes evident that Robinson's not even going to be able to get back on the court until probably the final week of January, the earliest. So I do think we'll see another true big man come in for the Knicks. But we are seeing the beginning of a 9-man rotation. I mean, Payne only played 6 minutes tonight because Landry Shamet played well, but I think we'll see Tibbs' trust grow in Shamet and understanding that Cameron Payne is having a very good season, shooting over 40% from three and 45% from the field, or 44, but it's same thing. And outside of that, you have such a good start for a bench. You could use more help, but they'll be able to sign an extra player come March, and that'll probably be TJ Warren. So I think the Knicks bench is something to be concerned about for sure. I mean, when you're playing Mikal Bridges 44 minutes tonight in a game the Knicks won 108-85, it's definitely worrisome. And I don't like the idea of the Knicks doing that, but I think the more we see Tibbs' trust in Landry Shamet and Cameron Payne grow, and Cameron Payne's has grown a lot already, I think we will see the Knicks move to a 9-man rotation. The Knicks wanted to win this game tonight, and so they went out and showed that even despite the fact that they don't have Mitchell Robinson, just absolutely torching the Magic in the second half defensively. I mean, just a terrible second half from the Magic. They barely surpassed 30 points. They had a 32-point second half after a good first half. We're seeing the New York Knicks just absolutely figure it out on both ends of the ball. So what they're doing is working. For me, my real concern is the minutes. The Orlando Magic, fine team. And something to really talk about is Jalen Suggs is one of basketball's best perimeter defenders, and the Knicks did an excellent job at putting him in foul trouble and getting him upset, because Suggs' biggest weakness is that once he starts to once things don't start to go his way at all, he can get
Yeah.
upset and he makes boneheaded fouls. And that's something that he can't do, especially when you're one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. You're taking the toughest matchups every night, whether it's a Jalen Brunson or Trae Young or someone even bigger. Sometimes you might see him on even like a Jalen Brown. Given the Magic are usually they're very deep defensively, but right now dealing with the injuries to Huevos Rancheros and to um I wanted to make that joke and it threw me off. And to Franz, you are losing some of that defense. So seeing Suggs do that, I think, and seeing the Knicks be able to get in his head is just a good sign for things to come. The Knicks are very, very well game planned for these teams. I mean, especially like what we saw coming out of the second half, like we saw them just adjust well. I love the way the Knicks adjusted tonight.
Something that I'm surprised that I feel like teams aren't making it a point is how the Orlando Magic came out the game. They came out very, very physical, and they made it a point to be physical with Cat, which of course led him to being in foul trouble. The reason why I say that is because throughout all the games throughout the season, Cat has like ended up being in foul trouble more times than not. But I felt like the Orlando Magic, I felt like it was an actual point when the game started to like, yo, attack, 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 Cat. So I'm just surprised that I haven't seen that as much from a team being so definitive in getting Cat in foul trouble. That's one thing. The other thing is Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet is back. He's recovered from that shoulder injury and played 10 minutes. I feel like most of those 10 minutes were in the first half, but he's definitely going to be taking over. I shouldn't say definitely, but what I want to say is with Landry Shamet's return, I feel like Cam Payne might be in trouble. He only played 7 minutes tonight. Box score is horrible. He had one assist. He took two shots and he took two 3-pointers. No, he took two shots, and the two shots were two 3-pointers. And I don't know. I feel like Deuce has gained the trust of Tibbs, so I feel like Deuce is good. But if Shamit is going to play like he did in preseason, like he's done in the couple games that he's played so far, I don't know. I feel like your boy Campaign could be in trouble. So he better be careful whenever he gets in the game. He better not be coming in with the flamethrower without even taking a free throw and trying to shoot 3-pointers one step into the half court. I'm just saying, your boy, you better text your boy, you better call your boy and be like, yo, I got a lot riding on you, bro. I got a lot riding on you. You better not let Landry Shamet take your spot, dog.
I don't think it's one or the other. I think they'll move it to a 9-man. I mean, the Champagne duo has worked in the past for multiple years.
9-man in the playoffs?
No, right now.
Oh, regular
The
season?
playoffs are a
Okay.
while away, and it's hard to gauge what the Knicks are going to do in the playoffs because it's hard to even know what the team's going to look like. I'm pretty certain that if no one else does it, the Knicks will sign TJ Warren once March comes around and they can afford him. So who knows? Maybe he breaks into it even. It's really hard to tell. You never know with injuries right now. But for right now, I do think they'll throw the 9-man out in the regular season. And Payne's been
That's cool.
excellent this season. I mean, 41.5% from three, 44% from the field, putting up 7 points off the bench, 8 points really off the bench, getting 3 assists. He's doing his thing, 2 rebounds even, half a
He's doing
steal.
good.
Like
Yeah.
he's been a solid player. So I do think we'll see I think we'll see some good work out of Cameron Payne off the bench for at least the rest of the season and potentially into playoffs. I do imagine if Shamet starts shooting the way that he looks tonight and continue to kind of fit into that Dante DiVincenzo role, albeit not as effective. But if he could kind of scooch himself into that role shooting wise, he'll get the edge over Payne come playoffs, and that would make sense. I mean, they're around similar when it comes to defense, and Shamet's a little bit bigger, and
Right.
I mean, he's just great off the ball, and the Knicks could use that a lot, especially his shot creation is a little bit better than Payne's because it's more fluid, and the Knicks could
Absolutely.
use that extra jolt of shot creating off the bench.
One of the last things that I want to say is Brunson had a solid game, but something that kind of caught my eye. I felt like he was focusing a little, maybe focusing is the wrong word, but I just saw him displaying his playmaking abilities a lot more tonight. Of course, we know that Brunson can put the ball in the bucket, but there were numerous amount of times, especially I feel like in the first half, where he was able to find cutters, and the passes that he was making weren't easy passes. He was kind of like threading the needle in between defenses and their arms being out. And I just feel like Jalen Brunson, that's one of the things that people don't really highlight. They highlight how good of a offensive player he is. They highlight his footwork. They highlight how he's changed the organization and making the Knicks back into a respectable team. But for some reason, the playmaking abilities aren't really highlighted. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because I saw that tonight, and I like the body movement from everybody else, but I really liked how Jalen Brunson was able to incorporate his teammates into it.
Yeah, I love the way Brunson's been playing. I think people are kind of nervous because we're seeing less of the scoring through double teams. It's just he doesn't have to. It's not the playoffs anymore. Brunson
He's
doesn't have to
fine.
score through double teams to succeed.
He's
It's
fine.
good for him.
Well, Chris, why don't you do the outro? Why don't you do
I
the?
can't do it. I'm sick. I'm half here right now. I'm half here, half drinking this margarita.
All right. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. The Deuce is loose for co-MVP. OG Anunoby for Defensive Player of the Year. Taj Gibson, we feel your pain, bro. We wish we could be there with you in Charlotte, but we're not going to go there. Anyways, Taj Gibson for President. And until next time, Chris and I, we're signing out, and we'll check you out in the next video. Peace, baby.